Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope y'all are doing well. If you like what you see in this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Today I'll be taking a look at Replaced, again released today, April 14 as of this recording. Currently sitting at a very positive review on Steam with 282 reviews in total. Developed by SatCat Studios and published by Thunderful Publishing. I currently have the latest NVIDIA driver installed. Driver version 595.97, released March 24th as of this recording. And also this video is recorded using a 4K 60Hz capture card recorded directly to my iMac. So if you have similar graphics card as the RTX 2080 Ti, for example, the RTX 5060 Ti, 3070 Ti, and Radeon RX 6800, you should get similar performance since this is recording directly to the iMac. So I am not using shadow play, which tends to incur roughly 10 FPS loss, sometimes more depending on the game. So yeah, there is a demo available. So if you like what you see in this video, you can download the demo and check it out for yourself. It's currently, it's currently priced at $20, fairly affordable. So it should have a, fairly short play time. Let's take a look at the system requirements. The game doesn't have any recommended system requirement. It only has the minimum requirement from what I can tell. So it's asking for a minimum of Intel Core i5-8400. So about, a 6-core processor. System memory, 16 gigabytes in total. Graphics card, a GTX 1060, 6 gigabyte or equivalent. And hard drive storage, 8 gigabytes available space. The actual install file size to my NVMe drive was 3.6 GB, so relatively small compared to most games nowadays. I do like the cyberpunk aesthetic, artistic vision. It looks pretty nice. It kind of reminds me of my favorite indie title, in my opinion, the best in the game ever made, called Inside. That game was absolutely fantastic. It kind of looks like it. And also has that stop motion animation similar to South of Midnight. So yeah, let me take a look at the game settings, and jump into the performance and see how the game performs. And I'm back in Replaced main menu. The game doesn't have a shader pre-compilation step, which makes sense. This is a DirectX 11 title. Most DirectX 11 titles that I've come across don't have that at all. And this game actually predates Unreal Engine 5. From what research I did, it appears that this game was in development for 6-7 years, if not longer. So, that's definitely before Unreal Engine 5. So if I have to guess, this is using Unreal Engine 4. Looking at the options menu, the graphical preset, this is all you get. 1060 should even be able to run this game at 1440p. But we'll see. Let me jump into the main game and see how the game performs. And I'm back at the very start of Replaced. First mission. Just wanted to point out a couple of things real quick. So in the general tab, I turned off screen shake. And also, I am using a dual sense controller, so a PlayStation 5 controller. I want to see if the game supports any of the PlayStation 5 haptic feedback and adaptive trigger. All right, so here's the performance matrix up and running. I'm well over 200 FPS, so I am using a 240 Hertz display, so this game syncs perfectly with my refresh rate. I'm so glad this is DirectX 11. Look at that beautiful flat frame time graph. 4 milliseconds of frame time. This is not DX12 stuttery mess. You can see GPU information, 322 watts. GPU pegged at 100%. GPU VRAM, 3.5 gigs. CPU information, CPU watts, CPU temps, CPU usage is relatively modest. System RAM, 7.2 GB. Yeah, you can see, this is what I'm talking about. Even though the game doesn't have a recommended system requirement, it has a minimum requirement, as I mentioned, GTX 1060. But yeah, even though GTX 1060 should have no problem playing this game, at 1440p. Yeah, look at it. Beautiful frame time, no shader pre-compilation. The game does look nice. As I mentioned, it kind of reminds me of Inside, based on just artistic vision and the vibe of the game. It looks like Inside. And the animation, it has the stop motion animation. It's sort of like running at like 15 FPS. You know, all these stop motion animation. That's what it feels like. What's that game? I mentioned South of Midnight. It sort of reminds me of. Yeah, the game does look pretty nice. Looking at the nice shadow, the texture, and like I said, I'm so glad this is a DirectX 11 game, no DX12 shaded pre-compilation stuttery trash. Yeah, just making a little bit of observation here. It's a bit fuzzy, grainy, low resolution, the light shaft. But and I mean, it's a 2.5D game. It's not a big deal. But yeah, the environment, the flame effect looks good. The lighting looks decent. It sort of reminds me of Contra back in the day. Also, the look, like if you played Contra on the NES or Super Nintendo back in the day, you know, you couldn't see your character face. Or Double Dragon, you couldn't see your character face. You know, but yeah, as I was saying, you know, all 8 cores and 16 threads are being utilized. This is what I like to see. Fantastic. Yeah, the game is very resource conservative. You can see system RAM and GPU VRAM is fairly modest, which is quite impressive, you know. Yeah, so the game does have this dystopian look to it, sort of like Inside, you know, where you're running away from an authoritative regime. It kind of reminds me of Inside in that sense, where you're just running away in a forested area. The first opening of the game, actually, this game feels like it. But yeah, just looking at it, you know, it's so good. Look at that frame time, just beautiful. Okay, first stutter, that was a major stutter there. Brought down my 0.1% to 6 FPS. It could be a traversal thing, who knows? But other than that, the frame time has been fairly stable. Okay, there was another stutter there, so I suspect it might be a traversal stutter. The cinematic depth of field during cutscene is actually quite impressive. Almost reminds me of The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, bokeh depth of field. That was actually the best depth of field I've ever seen in pretty much any game. So yeah, the background geometry is actually 2D. So if you look at the bricks, the walls, the lighting, it's actually 3D. But then the foreground geometry closer to me as a player is all 2D. But then the water is actually 3D, like the way it flows when it comes down from a pipe. So it's quite impressive. The graphical elements, everything is all mixed and matched, 2D and 2D sprites alongside actual 3D geometry, which is quite impressive. So I just got a hold of this weapon, which is a pistol that turns also into a baton. But yeah, as you can see, the game, there's no voiceover, so you know it's actual text on the screen that you have to read. Reminds me of old school games from like the Game Boy Advance or you know, the NES or Super Nintendo days. So yeah, this game definitely does take a lot of inspiration from a variety of different games, different genres. Like the combat system is sort of like the Batman Arkham games. So if you've played, you know, Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, you should be familiar with the counter prompts, you know, to perform a counter, a parry, counter strike. Yeah, so let's see. So this game, I am playing, as I said, I am playing using my DualSense controller just to see if it has any of the DualSense features like adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, which it doesn't. So you know, it's just standard rumble. This is a real 3D water effect. Like if you see games like Bioshock 1 back in the day that came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 and PC, like this water almost looks as good as that, or Uncharted, Drake's Fortune water effect. So the water is actual real 3D, but the characters is 2D sprite, and then the foreground, like the planks, the scaffolding, is all 2.2D. But then the pipes on the wall, the lighting, like I said, the water effect is real 3D geometry. So that's a really nice mixture. As far as like performance, you may run into a few traversal issues when it loads into a new area. Red strike, you have to roll into it. Yellow strike, you can counter. Nice. Oh yeah, definitely Batman Arkham. It definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the Batman games for sure. But yeah, this is pretty solid. I like the animation. So if I have to guess, and looking at how clean the image is, this is I don't think it's using TAA. I'll rather sacrifice a few shimmer here and there over a blurry image. Yeah, the combat is pretty intuitive, definitely. You just basically, yellow strikes are counter, and red strikes you have to roll into it, and you can attack multiple enemies. I do like the way he changed his animation. Is very nice. Definitely Batman Arkham style of combat. Oh yeah, that is nice. Very nice. Nice. Yeah, so you see the way the game is. You know, if it's for you, give it a shot. At least check out the demo. You know, download it. You know, play for a bit. If it's for you, support the developer. It's only $20, right? If you like what you see in this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.